The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? Want to run away to a private island with your new billionaire friend? You might want to think, or in this case, blink twice. Amber and Scott discuss what they would do if trapped on this island of debauchery. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
This movie just goes to show that if you ask a question and they answer the question, don't ignore the answer.
Okay. That feels very philosophical, but I look forward to hearing more about that as we discuss this episode's movie, which is Blink Twice.
Oh, wait. That might be part of the question.
It might be. So I have a lengthy synopsis here, but I think it's probably important to understand what this movie really is.
FYI, always spoilers.
Yeah, for sure. This movie you don't want ruined. So if you haven't seen this and you want to see it, come back to this episode after you've seen the movie and give us a listen.
I mean, it's not as bad as Strange Darling. Strange Darling, you absolutely have to go in completely blind. This one you'll probably figure out, but you still shouldn't have it ruined. So
yeah, you know that something's wrong, but you don't fully understand what's wrong based on the trailers.
Yes, based on the fact that this is not a romantic comedy.
Right, okay. So our synopsis. When tech billionaire Slater King meets cocktail waitress Frida at his fundraising gala, sparks fly. He invites her to join him and his friends on a dream vacation on his private island. It's paradise. Wild nights blend into sun-soaked days and everyone's having a great time. No one wants this trip to end, but as strange things start to happen, Frida begins to question her reality. There is something wrong with this place. She'll have to uncover the truth if she wants to make it out of this party alive.
It's true. Yes. If you ask someone the question, blink twice if I'm in danger, and they blink twice, I don't know if you should necessarily go running off to the island.
Oh, you mean with Kyle MacLachlan at the beginning?
Yeah. Yeah, she literally said, blink twice if I'm in danger, and he went blink, blink.
Oh, really?
Yep.
I don't think I realized that. That was in the
Yeah,
beginning.
that was the foreshadowing. Yes, you are in danger.
Yeah,
You were in danger last year. You're in danger this year.
Yeah, this film, again, folks, please, if you have any interest in seeing this, dump out of this episode now and please come back and visit us because I don't want to ruin it for
there's
you.
already too late. I'm already screwing it up. So
Well, no.
We already gave them warning.
I know.
We don't need to give them warning after warning after warning.
No, just some films I just don't want to ruin for folks.
Yeah, well, if they're still going, guess what? They're wanting it ruined if they haven't seen it.
Okay. So you didn't need to see this to be able to listen to this episode because the themes of it I think are kind of universal. So our main character Frida is whisked away to this island by a celebrity that she's gaga over. And they're having fancy meals at this grand estate and being waited on head and toe. Waited on from head to toe?
Oh, they're being waited on. There's definitely body parts involved.
Yeah. So I'd say at least
I think it's hand and foot.
Yes. Wait. Thank you. I knew that didn't sound right. So they're enjoying themselves for the half of the movie until all of a sudden Frida's friend gets bitten by a snake. And they just say, it'll be fine.
It's okay. It's all right.
Yeah. And then the next day, Frida says, oh, where is she? And everyone says, what are you talking about? I don't know who you're talking about. She's like, my friend who's been with us this entire time. And they're like, Jess, remember Jess? She's been here the whole time. And they're like, we don't know what you're talking about. So Frida's like, what the hell? How does nobody remember Jess? So this could be a very long episode if we explain everything about the movie. But let's just jump to the chase. Go ahead. Spill it. Spill the beans.
What would you do if you were at a cocktail party and a tech billionaire invites you to come to his private island?
Yeah. And supposedly a rehabilitated tech billionaire that had some sort of abuses of power that made him leave his seat at his company and go into seclusion for a while. And during that time, supposedly he's gotten therapy and he's bought an island and is in tune with nature. So, yeah, I think most people, if it was a public figure like that, they'd say, you only live once, and they
Yeah,
get on the
YOLO.
plane. Yeah, and get on the plane, which is what she did.
Well, she YOLO'd all right.
Yeah, so
And I'm going to say that I don't know what that perfume costs an ounce, but let me tell you, if you could find it in the real world, they're not charging enough.
yeah, so the rooms at the estate have this unique perfume made from this flower that is only on the island, and it makes you
Forget.
forget. So jumping to the horrifying part of this film is basically these guests are living the good life during the day, having brunches and fancy meals and swimming in the pool and sunbathing and laughing and doing mushrooms.
Yeah, and by night they're being violently raped.
Yeah, the women are basically prey at night, and it seems like they even, not just by the men that are there, but it seems like they also bring in men to participate at these events. And yeah, they gag the women, they rape the women, they chase them.
How do you not realize the next day, wow, my vagina really hurts?
You know, I thought about that because I was like, wouldn't you have some? I mean, because some of these scenes definitely felt like they were very rape-like.
Yeah, this was not gentle screwing. This was I'm gagging you, I'm hitting it from behind, whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I actually did have that thought as well, is maybe if it had been some sort of gentle something, you wouldn't necessarily know. But if you had been violated in a very intense way, I would think there'd be something.
Is it like, is the perfume like a makes you forget / anti-inflammatory?
Maybe, I don't know. But it basically made these people wake up the next day and not remember what had happened.
And yes, and
So they go through the next day and they have a great brunch and then at the pool time and sunbathing, and then at night.
and if you've not put two and two together with the snake bite, the snake's venom counteracts the effects of this perfume so that you remember.
Exactly. And Jess, who had been bitten, she actually started to remember what was happening during one of those nighttime rape fests. And she started to get her memory back. And of course, they couldn't have that. So they killed her.
It's true.
Yeah. So Frida ultimately winds up getting a swig of something accidentally and realizes it's the antidote, which is basically the snake venom. And slowly the girls start to remember after Frida gives them shots of the venom.
Yes.
And then all hell breaks loose as they try to fight for their lives and get vengeance on the guys that have been sexually assaulting them every night for God knows how long, because we have no concept of how much time has passed. And even they're not aware. They never know what day it is.
Yeah, so it is kind of interesting because it feels as though this perfume not only makes you forget, but it makes you selectively forget.
Yeah.
Like maybe it simply actually hits the part of the
It was
brain that
trauma.
stores trauma.
Yeah, because they definitely mentioned him and his therapist, and he was working with him on past trauma. So you're right, it was definitely trauma related. So there is all kinds of stuff here to talk about from a what would you do standpoint. We already discussed if a high profile celebrity invited you somewhere, where would you go? And I think most people would go. So,
Yeah.
And then here's the first kind of flag. So Jess and Frida, they feel like they're joining a friend group, and they just kind of got invited along. And it's not until Frida starts to remember, because she accidentally chugged some of the snake's venom, that she comes to realize none of these women knew each other, these guys. She just assumed that they did, and they were all just kind of invited along. And so from a what would you do standpoint, wow, that's huge, because I think a lot of us make assumptions based on like, oh, all these people must know each other, or, you know, this girl is hanging out with a bunch of guys, so the guys must be okay because the girl's cool or whatever. And we all fill in the blank so much. And in this case, that was such a mistake, and it really makes you realize that you just got to stop it, and we all do it.
Oh yeah. No, we absolutely do.
Because had she realized, hey, a bunch of random women were being invited to an island, she might have thought twice, but she thought she was joining this friend group of about a dozen people, and she got invited along, and like, oh my gosh, this whole big group that's so cool invited me.
I think I want to focus more on the actual perfume because,
So what would you do if someone gave you a perfume?
well, more about using it. Like if you knew what it knew.
Well,
like-
they didn't know though. It was just part of the toiletries that were in their room.
Okay, well, let's say you're somebody who runs a pharmaceutical company.
Oh, you're saying if the perfume was a real thing and you could spray yourself to forget things, would you?
Well, it's interesting because this thing is probably the most amazing and the worst thing at the same time. Because, I mean, if people could just spray on some perfume and all of their past trauma just goes away, it could take people who are like basically broken and unbreak them.
This conversation is reminding me of that prior episode. What was the name of the film? Handling the Dead, I think it was, where loved ones died and then they came back, and we had a conversation then about if the grief process and whether or not if someone could be not have to deal with the grief process. And I think what you're talking about is somewhat similar, is if you could skip processing whatever feeling it was, whether you were broken up with or...
It's not even necessarily skipping. I mean, if you think about like soldiers that went off to war and they've seen just like horrible, terrible things that they're never going to be able to get out of their head, like the ability to, little perfume, all that PTSD is gone.
Yeah, I can understand. And that was part of the theme
Like-
with this movie, is forgetting as a gift.
Yeah, like, and in that case, it really is a gift. Like, to be able to get beyond all the horrible, like, kids who see their parents doing terrible things when they're young. Like, there's
Or kids who experience terrible things when they're young.
Yeah, I can think of a lot of cases where that would be an actual miracle. Like, it would take people who literally are broken and, hey, you're not broken anymore. Just flip a switch, you're not broken. But if the trauma is something that is, going on currently, like, a guy who beats his wife,
Right.
and is like, I'm sorry, here's some perfume, and she just forgets about it, that's no bueno.
The bruises never heal because they're happening every night and you just don't remember
Yes.
them. Yeah, that's a really good ethical conversation, because obviously someone would need to have a lot of education, maybe counseling sessions, to even get to a point where they were considering and have the option to take a drug such as the perfume, because that doesn't seem like something that should be entered into lightly if you were basically self-selecting to forget.
I think it would have to be prescribed by and administered by psychologists, or excuse me, psychiatrists specifically. Yeah, because you couldn't put that into the hands of normal people.
Yeah, because you think about the use of, not for yourself, but trying to get other people to forget stuff. You have an argument with someone, they spritz them, they forget. You're in an abusive relationship.
Well, and
someone kills someone.
But that's
you
interesting,
know.
because you talk about getting an argument with spritz with someone. That's actually what happened at the end of the movie. That's how she, in the end, won, because she was able to spritz him, and
She put it in his vape. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he smoked it.
and made it so that he forgot, and she was able to actually.
He forgot that he knew what was going on. It was the kind of a double whammy. Is he didn't forget what was going on, but he forgot that he knew what was going on, and so he was like, "Oh my gosh, why are all these dead people, and why is all this destruction and whatnot?" Because he forgot the sinister plot that he had actually been orchestrating.
And then Frida got the ultimate revenge.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, having to be with a guy who had done that to me, I don't. I mean, yes, she got to live a good life and
Well, she got
be
to live
rich,
a good.
But
Well, she got
but
to
she had
live
to
a.
deal with that guy.
She got to control that guy.
Yeah. I don't
Like,
know.
basically, she controlled him.
Yeah, she turned the tables on him and basically made him medicated for the rest of his life so
Yeah,
that she could live a good life. But
Exactly.
still having
Well,
that
it's-
man in my life. So what would you do if you could have a life with your captor and your torturer, but you could control him? F that. Wouldn't want that person in my life. Like, so what if I had fancy clothes and could go to fancy places?
Oh,
if I had to
you're
live with
looking
my
at it
tormentor?
completely wrong. You're looking at it as the benefits of what she's getting, and I'm looking at it as from a pure effing revenge standpoint. Like, you did these horrible, horrible things to me, I'm now going to take over everything you have.
Well, but she married him. So,
Yeah.
I mean, she's a wife. She's performing wifely duties to the guy who
Maybe.
sexually assaulted and raped her.
Maybe she is. Maybe she's not.
I don't know. I understand what you're saying, but I would want no part of that person in my life. So what would you do? She dragged him out to be able to turn the tables and control him and live a good life. I probably would have left him there in the house fire to burn alive.
But see, that's the other thing too. She could take over everything and then divorce him. Literally just taking everything he has.
Maybe, yeah.
I don't know. I
mean, we're future focusing beyond the movie at that point, but it's an interesting.
But it is a conundrum. Like if you have someone who has just been horrible to you, and you have the opportunity to completely turn the tables on them.
I guess that goes to how much you embrace vengeance. If you're a vengeful person, if you rather get revenge or if you rather move on.
I usually like to move on, but if someone's been violently raping me and making me forget about it,
I wouldn't want to share a bed with
I figure that out. I'm good with a little revenge.
I'm good with some revenge too, but I'm not sharing a bed with that person.
We don't know if they're sharing a bed. Lots of married couples sleep in opposite bedrooms.
I wouldn't want to spend my days with that person. I wouldn't want to be sitting next to them at a gala and being, I'm Mrs. So-and-so. I wouldn't want that person contaminating every day of the rest of my life.
Maybe they're not contaminating every day of the rest of your life. I present for you, and this is not a political statement at all, but I think it's a very good thing. Donald and Melania Trump. I have a feeling they basically never see each other. Virtually never. She clearly can't stand the guy.
I don't know. That's a whole other movie.
So I'm just saying, it is possible to have your steak and not freaking have to look at it too. I say steak, I meant cake.
Did you mean to say that?
No, I think I meant to say cake. Have your cake and not have to look at it too.
Where's your mind going to?
They were serving steaks in the movie.
They were indeed. So I guess from a what would you do standpoint, there is so much goodness in this movie. I guess what my biggest takeaway is don't be so trusting just because someone appears personable or someone is famous or a group of people seems friendly. Do your due diligence. Don't just buy in based on nothing and put your life and your safety at risk.
Yeah. You know what, though? Here's the problem. I'm not going to agree with you on that one because I think she saw enough that she felt, okay, this is like, I should be good here. And if it hadn't been for, let's be honest, a sci-fi factor of there being a perfume that makes you forget.
I don't know if that's a sci-fi factor, as so many medicines are derived from plant extracts, and that perfume was derived from a flower on the island. That's not sci-fi. That's how things are created that make changes.
If there was a perfume that cured trauma, we'd know about it. It's.
I'm not saying it's real, but I don't think it's sci-fi.
I think it's sci-fi enough that, like, what? So the greater community as a whole doesn't have it, but this dude does?
Well,
that's the sci-fi factor.
The flowers were on his island.
Yeah, but you're not expecting to go to an island that has rare things that cause
if someone
amnesia.
asks you to come to their mansion, you're not expecting that they're going to somehow drug you, rape you at night, and then make you forget and do it every day for weeks or months at a time. Yes, that is not where your mind typically goes.
Correct.
But I guess it's just a matter of having blind faith in situations and not being an independent thinker who is questioning things and looking at situations and making informed judgments.
But even my point is that you can be an independent thinker, you can make informed judgments, but if all the information you have is positive, then, you can make good judgments and still have bad outcomes because you don't have good information.
That's true.
That's
and
my
everything
point.
happened quickly.
Sometimes you're going to make bad decisions, not because you made bad decisions, but because you had bad information. And you made a good decision with bad information, which led to it being a bad decision.
Well, and I don't even know if it's a matter of bad information. It was just information that wasn't questioned or assessed. It just was what it was.
Well, yeah, you're not thinking before you get in the plane. I wonder if they're going to tie me up and rape me nightly
Yes,
and then
of
make me forget
course,
about it.
Of course. I just, I'm somewhat anti-celebrity, and I guess it's just the blind faith of, oh, someone's a public figure. Everything must be great.
Oh, I don't even know
And
if it was
it's
that. She. I don't think.
She's a little obsessed with him.
I don't
before.
think he needed billions of dollars. I think he just needed to take his shirt off for her.
Yeah.
That's
I
pretty.
mean,
yeah.
The him, of course, was Channing Tatum, so there was that at play.
Who I still can't freaking look at without seeing Gambit now.
Yeah. So blink twice if you're in danger.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.